There's a 366 FT glowing sphere sitting in the heart of the Las Vegas Strip. 2.3 billion in construction costs. That's more than a Legant stadium, more than most skyscrapers, more than some countries spend on infrastructure in a year. The exterior is 580,000 square FT of custom curved LED screens. Inside, 167,000 speakers create sound so precise it feels like headphones without wearing them. It took 4 years just to engineer the technology. When it opened in September 2023, this was supposed to be the future of live entertainment. But here's what they discovered. Building the most technologically advanced venue on Earth and making it profitable are two completely different problems. The revenue model doesn't work. The construction costs spiraled, and fundamental design problems emerged that no one caught until opening night. So, what went wrong? When you build something this ambitious, where do the cracks appear first? In the engineering, the economics, or somewhere no one thought to look? Let's find out. To understand what happened, you first have to look at what they built. The Sphere sits next to the Venetian in the heart of the Las Vegas Strip. It holds 18,600 people. Screens wrap up, over, and behind you in a complete 360-degree immersion. And that matters because Vegas is the entertainment capital of the world. If this works, it redefines live entertainment for the next century. If it fails, it becomes a $2.3 billion case study on what happens when your ambition runs faster than reality. And unfortunately, the first crack in the glass appeared way before anyone even bought a ticket. Failure number 1. The construction disaster. Let's look at it. When MSG Entertainment pitched this in 2018, the budget was $1.2 billion. But then reality set in. By 2019, the price tag climbed to $1.7 billion. By 2022, $2.15 billion. The final receipt, $2.3 billion. That is a 91% cost overrun. See, traditional construction loves right angles. It loves flat beams. The Sphere has neither. Because spherical geometry doesn't play by normal rules, every single component had to be custom engineered. MSG discovered these costs mid-construction, not during planning. To stop the project from collapsing, they cannibalized revenue from Tower Group, Radio City Music Hall, and even Madison Square Garden itself. They were using their profitable businesses just to fund this experiment. If you're rating the profits of other businesses to fund this one, it needs to be profitable fast. The plan to do that was simple, with 2 types of content. Concerts where artists move in for weeks, and films custom-made for the screen running daily. And look, the tech genuinely delivers. The screen wraps you in visuals that are physically impossible anywhere else. The audio creates perfect spatial immersion. But where is the profit? The Sphere only has 3 revenue streams: ticket sales, ads on the outside, and sponsorships. That's it. Most Vegas venues don't care if concerts lose money because they have casinos printing cash downstairs. Hotels, restaurants. If one stream has a bad quarter, others compensate. The Sphere is an island. No casino, no hotel, no restaurants, no conventions. It's betting everything on selling tickets. You might think that works if you sell out shows and charge premium prices, but that assumption dies with the U2 deal. U2 was the launch partner. 40 sold-out shows, massive buzz. The total gross revenue from those 40 shows was $244.5 million. The Sphere actually kept $24.4 million. Reports indicate the split was 90% to U2 and only 10% to the Sphere. And that wasn't just a bad one-time deal. It set a precedent. Every major artist now has leverage. This is the most advanced venue on Earth. So they demand the lion's share. A typical show grosses $3.5 million. At 1910, the Sphere keeps $350,000. The thing the Sphere was designed for, concerts by major artists, are financial losers. But even if the math worked, the building itself was fighting them. Construction of this Sphere ran from 2019 to 2023. But traditional methods were useless here. You can't build a Sphere the way you build a stadium. There are no flat surfaces to anchor against, no right angles, no repetitive components. The exterior isn't just a screen. It's 580,000 FT of custom curved LED panels. every single one with a unique curvature. Standard cranes couldn't reach the angles, conventional scaffolding couldn't hold the shape. MSG had to engineer custom mounting systems for panels that couldn't be manufactured until the structure itself was partially complete. Inside, 167,000 speakers had to be positioned with millimeter precision to create beam-forming audio. Each speaker aims sound at specific seats, creating what feels like personal headphones without wearing anything. The screen wraps a 160-degree around you. Resolution of 16,000 by 6,000 pixels across the entire dome. This level of precision across a curved surface had never been attempted at this scale, and that complexity showed up immediately in the budget. It's impressive. Walk into a Wizard of Oz showing and the tornado spins around you. During U2, audiences felt like they were floating in space. But then you sit down and you realize something is wrong. Which leads us to failure number 3, the design flaw. It turns out approximately 800 premium seats per show physically cannot see the screen properly. Section 100, rows 24 through 37, and parts of Section 200. Because the upper decks hang low to fit everyone inside the sphere, they cut off the top of the screen for people sitting below. And these were VIP packages, selling for $2,600 to $4,200 sold without disclosing obstructed views. Customers started revolting immediately. Class action lawsuits were threatened. The Sphere's response: they quietly started offering refunds and relocations, which is basically a public admission that the product was broken. Think about what that means. The entire promise of the Sphere is total immersion. If you can't see the screen, the experience collapses. You're sitting in a very expensive dark room listening to music you could hear better on headphones. And there's an additional problem: vertigo. The steep viewing angles and spinning visuals during rapid movement make people physically ill. So now you have a product failure at a $2,500 price point. But even if they fixed the obstructed views, and even if they solved the motion sickness, they would still be facing the next disaster. Now, let's assume they fix the seats in vertigo. They still run headfirst into the content gap. Every show requires months of custom 3D content production. You can't just book an artist, shoot their concert, and project it. The screens aren't flat, the format isn't standard. Artists need specialized teams spending months creating content specifically for this venue. That means long lead times. It means you can't book acts on short notice the way traditional venues do. Which brings us to the 4th failure: limited concert bookings. They managed about 70 concerts in 2024. The target for 2025 was over 100, but 100 concerts still leaves 265 nights needing content. Films can fill those gaps, but each one takes months to produce. There's no quick pivot when bookings fall through. That makes revenue unpredictable. Costs, meanwhile, run 24/7. Every experienced Vegas operator knows you can't survive on ticket sales alone, but MSG tried anyway. And if you follow the news, you might think it's working. MSG's recent quarterly reports show adjusted operating income that looks impressive. Quarter 1, 2025, $13.1 million profit. Quarter 2, 2025, $24.9 million profit. It looks like the Sphere is finally making money. But here's the 5th failure. Those aren't the real numbers. The actual gap losses tell a completely different story. In Quarter 1, 2025, the Sphere didn't make $13 million. It lost $93.8 million in Quarter 2. It lost $83.4 million. In Quarter 3, another $84.4 million was gone. They're still bleeding $80 to $95 million every single quarter. So what is the difference? What exactly is this income adjusting? Well, it excludes employee compensation costs, depreciation, and debt servicing costs. Essentially, they're taking major bills off the main scoreboard to create profitable-looking numbers. Now, to be fair, this isn't technically dishonest. Companies do this all the time to show operational performance, but let's be real. It obscures the truth. The Sphere has lost $570 million since its opening. Now the question is, can all these disasters be saved? Believe it or not, yes, there is a redemption story happening, just not the one MSG imagined. The Sphere is pivoting hard toward films because the math is simple. Concerts generate 10% revenue after artist splits. Films generate 100%. The proof is The Wizard of Oz. This was custom filmed specifically for the Sphere's format. It launched and immediately became a phenomenon. By January 20th, 2026, it had sold over 2 million tickets, generating more than $260 million in revenue. And all of that is high-margin revenue flowing directly to the Sphere. No rock star takes a 90% cut. Compare that to YouTube. $24.4 million from 40 sold-out shows. One film generated $260 million, more than 10 times the revenue, running continuously without artist negotiations. Films are now the entire strategy because concerts can't pay the bills. But can that strategy work long-term? Let's look at the break-even math. In Q3 2025, the Sphere made $174.1 million annualized. That's nearly $700 million a year. On an adjusted basis, it's already working. The Sphere segment posted $17.1 million in operating profit that quarter. So yes, the business is now making money, but the building is still crushing it. That $2.3 billion price tag creates about $84 million a quarter in depreciation. When that's factored in, the quarterly loss remains substantial. The momentum, though, is real. By late 2025, The Wizard of Oz was bringing in around $2 million a day. Revenue is scaling fast. That's why analysts now project over $500 million in gross profit in 2026 and full GAAP profitability, including depreciation around 2027. But that projection is built on three massive assumptions: Wizard-level demand year-round, better artist splits than U2, and 365-day utilization despite production gaps. That requires flawless execution of a strategy they've struggled with for 2 years. One film flop or weak water and losses continue. The broader industry lesson is clear. Immersive venues cannot survive on spectacle alone. They need either integrated revenue streams like casinos or a content model that doesn't trap them in bad negotiations. The Sphere is proving the latter. Success determines if this becomes a template or a cautionary tale. The Sphere proves one truth: spectacular engineering is worthless if the economics don't work. MSG built one of the most technologically advanced venues in the world without proving the business model first. 91% cost overruns, revenue splits making concerts unprofitable, premium seats with obstructed views, empty most nights, accounting obscuring $570 million in losses. The Wizard of Oz shows a way out, but it's not the original vision. They wanted the world's greatest concert hall. They're becoming an expensive movie theater, and they're doubling down. A second full-size Sphere is planned for Abu Dhabi. A smaller version, 6,000 seats, was just announced for Maryland. Both projects are moving forward while the original is still losing money, betting on expansion before proving the model works. The question isn't whether it's impressive. The question is whether impressive pays the rent, whether spectacle and sustainability can coexist, or whether this remains a $2.3 billion lesson in building the future without checking if anyone can afford it. So, what do you think? Can the Sphere turn this around just by showing movies, or is the financial damage already done? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and make sure to share, like, and subscribe for more mega build stories.